Yeah, I mean, the ransom letter talked about placement of the Apple Watch inside the house. If you have knowledge of what's happening inside the house, Katie, it means that, this is something you need to take a hard look at.
Absolutely, though there was never any verification that they said, yes, this is exactly where the watch was and that ransom letter was correct. I don't know if they would do that, but that part is missing, Trace. And I think that that kind of leads to a much bigger question. And like, if you track the IP address on that email, on the ransom note, right, and you start actually digging in who sent this, when did they send this, and I think that comes up to the surface because we all knew this watch was there, and that was public information. So looking at the timing of when they said, oh, and this is where the watch is, Trace.
Yeah, you tell me where, if you tell me exactly where the watch is, I'm curious. Panel, stand by if you would. Investigators also taking a closer look at the timeline on the night Nancy Guthrie disappeared. Anchor and attorney Chanley Painter is live in our New York newsroom with a breakdown. Chanley, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Trace. So investigators laid out about a 40-minute timeline from when a door camera was disconnected shortly before 2 a.m. Sunday to when Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker was disconnected from a phone app.
This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed, various pieces of electronics that we've gathered.
So at 1:47 a.m., Guthrie's doorbell camera was disconnected. And 25 minutes later, software detected a person on that camera. However, that video is not available because the camera did not have a subscription. And when Nancy wasn't at church later that morning, a churchgoer notified the Guthrie family. And then the family later went to the home and spent some time inside that home searching for their mother. They placed the 911 call shortly after noon, with the sheriff's deputies arriving at the home in under 15 minutes. Officials say they've been working with a tech company to recover that critical doorbell camera footage, but so far they haven't been successful, Trace.
Chanley, stand by with us if you would. I want to bring in Maureen to this conversation because we've been saying, let's first play some sound of the Pima County Sheriff, because I've been saying, listen, the whole idea here is if you think that there's a person of interest, I mean, that all eyes focus on that. So listen to what the sheriff says, and then I'll ask you to kind of break it down for us. Watch this.
Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. Motive's always going to be a question, and we'll know more as we go what that motive is. But right now, my guesswork is as good as yours.
Does it tell you they have interest in somebody, Maureen, but not really willing to call them a suspect or a person of interest? But clearly they are investigating and talking to people. And I mean, it's not like they've got nothing to work with. Or is it?
There's absolutely no way that they have nothing to go with and nothing to work with. They're looking at some people, everyone that they talk to, they're verifying everything they're saying, and they're all on a spreadsheet, so to speak. There is no way they're not looking at people who the time they said they were here isn't panning out, and now they're saying something else, and now we have 3 ticks in this guy's box, et cetera, et cetera. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I find it impossible to believe that they don't have people in their crosshairs.
I'm wondering, Stuart Kaplan, because that's the whole thing, is you wonder at what point do they come, at least somebody they've brought in a couple of times that they're curious about their answers and so on and so forth before we get to that point where there might be a person of interest.
I think in this case, Trace, quite frankly, the FBI is poised and measured. I think the deployment of, for example, geolocation type of technology, given the late hour or the early morning hour, it's going to work to the FBI's technological advancement to be able to isolate any sort of cell phone traffic in that area. That ultimately is going to be the tipping point in this case. Trust me when I tell you, it's not like a Netflix movie where it starts and ends in 60 minutes. We're only 4 days into this or 5 days into this. The FBI is measured, poised, and disciplined. The technological advancements in locating the individuals that are responsible are on the radar of the FBI as we sit here this evening.
Yeah. Meantime, here's criminologist Dr. Casey Jordan. Here's what she said.
The bottom line is that whoever abducted her put a lot of planning into it. The idea that there was a trespasser at a neighbor's house maybe a month ago shows that maybe they planned their escape route very carefully.
I mean, you have a part of the panel, Vic, that's saying, listen, we think this whole thing was a mess. And this thing was screwed up because you could tell from the timeline. And then you have a criminologist saying, I think this was meticulously planned. Where do you come down?
I think it was planned, but not meticulously planned. We've heard from the sheriff that there's blood in the front doorway or the porch, but we don't know how much blood. I will say also, we are assuming it's one actor. And in this case, that may be a fatal assumption. Most of the time, this is a group, a conspiracy. So the plea of mercy has to be made to co-conspirators. You don't need to go down for life. Do the right thing and give us a call and tell on your colleague there who was the mastermind of the crime. We cannot assume it's a single actor.
From the outside, and that's exactly right, because you're trying to get this woman out of the house and get her away from this thing, and it might have happened in quickly as 16 minutes from the time that the camera detected somebody in the area and by the time that the pacemaker went off. Josh Ritter, to you, does it seem to you like this thing was poorly planned on the criminal's behalf?
I think when you look at the results of it, we're all starting to think it was very planned, right? I mean, the fact that we're nearly a week out and you still have law enforcement saying they don't have a suspect, that looks to me like someone who's accomplished a goal of kidnapping someone and leaving zero trace behind. I don't know, though, if that is indicative of it having been planned or if it's just indicative of the idea that we live in a world where we think with the advancements in forensics and digital technology that you can't get away with anything. And this person just managed to luckily find the gaps.
I wonder where you come down on this, Sheriff Lamb, because, you know, this is your area again, and you see what's happening. You see the lay of the land. You know crimes in this part of the country. You think this thing was planned in advance, well in advance, or do you think this was kind of spur of the moment?
No, I think most abductions are planned. And I think that they've carried it off fairly well, being that they don't have solid leads right now. They should be looking at traffic cameras. They should flock cameras. They should be looking at cell phone pings. All of these things are going to start to paint a picture of who might have been at that house and who might have taken Miss Guthrie.
Yeah, Josh Gerard, I mean, this sounds like the old-fashioned crime, right? You go and you case the joint. You kind of get the lay of the land, and then you make the kidnap, and then you send the ransom note. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's an old-fashioned ransom note. What do you think of that?
You know, we can't discount the fact that 90% of all abductions throughout the U.S. are perpetrated by someone that's known to the victim, most often a family member or close friend. So when we're looking at DNA or we're looking at everything in the house, it may show us that somebody was in the house that was supposed to be there. So this is really going to be difficult when we're talking about planned, unplanned. This may have been somewhat planned, but by someone that's supposed to be there, that's known to be there, which is going to make finding that particular person very difficult amongst all the other people that are in her life. It's like finding a needle in a stack of needles.
I mean, Chanley Painter, just to bring you back into the conversation here, your years at Court TV, it's one of those cases, if you were out there covering it, it does to me, I mean, some of these things, it looks like that, you know, the Keystone Cops and others, it looks like it's pretty expertly done. What do you think?
It does. What sticks out to me, Trace, is the 40 minutes inside the home, whereas it could be so well planned. They had all the time because it's in the middle of the night that they could possibly have cleaned up something, even though we know there was blood left on the front porch of that home that was Nancy Guthrie's. Also, what's critical here reminds me when I was on the ground for Brian Kohberger's case, the vehicle was the smoking gun there, right? How did the perpetrator or perpetrators leave this area? Those video cameras, the vehicle, that will possibly be the link here to tie it to the possible suspect.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.